Welcome back to the show today, everyone. My name is Kaytlynn Ward, and today I have two very special guests with me that I have been looking forward to interviewing for, I'm pretty sure it's over a month. It could be a couple of months now. But their names are Joey and Cynthia Dionne, and if you're not familiar with them, you've probably seen them on social media with over 255,000 followers on Instagram and over 9,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's not just a platform they've built, though, but it is a lifestyle of a testimony and obedience. And the way that they share their faith is something that's not only on the screen, but it's off the screen just by getting to know them. So today we're going to have a conversation that is genuinely going to inspire you. We're going to take a peek behind the brand, talk about the obedience that took them to where they are today, how God made them who they are. And we're just going to have a conversation that really is going to inspire you just as it has inspired me. So without further ado, welcome to the show today, Joey and Cynthia.
Hey.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
We're excited to be here.
Super.
I'm so excited. I have been looking forward to this topic, for far too long. It's something that we would talk about at church and everything. And so if people are meeting you for the first time and they're like, okay, I need to know who you guys are, how would you describe the mission and vision behind Joey and Cynthia? I know you say it's not a brand, but your brand on social media, who you guys are.
I think, before we went into this, we kind of established that first and foremost, we're going to be sharing Jesus through family life and adventures. So everything that we do ties back to that. It doesn't mean that every single post is going to be Jesus.
Yeah.
But more so just living it out and seeing people, having people see our actions over what we say. So.
Yeah. Actions speak louder than words. And I think, the word that we were given specifically was to just represent who Christ is through our family. And, rather than get on there, like Cynthia kind of alluded to, being all preachy, doing the traditional, I'm just going to read scripture, all that stuff's great. But we want to actually demonstrate how the Holy Spirit is working through our lives.
There's been times that, I've even heard people talk about, this is going to sound a little morbid, but at funerals, my Papa Dean, my mom's dad, he, at his funeral, people were sharing just the life that he lived. And if you looked at his life paralleled to how Jesus lived, he was walking, talking, breathing message, just in how he was speaking, just in how he interacted and how he loved. And so that is something I see in your guys' is just knowing you, and also on your content. I love all the new videos. And so I remember being over at your house, and it genuinely is authentic, and it's the same way you're on the camera is the same way that you're on behind the scenes. And you can't say that about everyone. And you can't. And so one thing that you've said before is that your message strongly communicates that children, they're not a burden. And so why do you guys think that is such an important message for families today?
Man, I think for myself specifically, I grew up in a home where I felt like a burden. I wasn't in the most healthy environment. Just went through a lot of traumatic experiences with my dad, and seeing how my mom processed certain situations and, certain things that were going on with her and him. And that just brought me to a place where I never wanted to be like that. If I were ever in a position where I was blessed to have a family, I just knew that I would do things differently. So when it actually came time that we gave birth to our first daughter, I just fell in love. And, I remember thinking when I first saw her, is how can any parent not look at their kid the way that I'm looking at mine right now?
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's true. And I think society in general, especially right now, kind of gives off kids are a burden. People are waiting longer and longer to have kids now. I'll be honest, I'm probably one of my only longtime friends that have kids right now, and I'm waiting for people to have kids. And not that they necessarily think it's a burden, but it's just people have this drive to do so much right now that it's a kid right now wouldn't be the right timing. And so it's you're waiting, but I don't think there is a perfect time to have
when
kids.
Is the right timing?
Yeah, and it's it's kind of a lie in a sense, because once you have kids, they add to you. It's not your life stops and you have to stop doing everything. It's things become better. And I think it's not until you cross over and see that sometimes that you realize that. But that was the case for us, because we never, I don't think we ever really even talked about like, oh, can't wait till we have kids. We just like weren't that couple. Like we just wanted
Just
to
happened.
like, yeah,
We
like
know that we wanted kids, but it wasn't like a pre-planned thing. Like, oh, we're gonna
Yeah.
have a kid at this time, or we're gonna wait till
Yeah.
we're in this season of life. It just kind of happened whenever the Lord willed it.
yeah. Once we
Yeah.
moved to Texas, we had peace, and we're like, you know what, like it wouldn't be terrible if it happened. Like that was
Yeah.
kind of the like outlook. And then when it did, we were like, okay, it just started, everything started happening. And so, yeah, like you said, once we had Leslie, who's our first daughter, it was just like, wow, like this isn't what people said it was going to be.
I love how you said like it's something that people have said. It's something that people have told you. It's like it's a burden. It's this, and it's like with you and you guys, that's why it's so important for your message on social media, because on social media you see all these people that it's just like toxic femininity, toxic masculinity, like that kind of thing of like, I am more so femininity of they're like, I'm a girl boss, I need this. And they're like 40 years old and they're not married. I'm like, granted, I'm not saying like whatever God calls you to in life, that's what I mean, but I'm saying like social media tells you like it's not a good thing when like families are such a beautiful thing. They're such a wonderful thing. And with Joey, you're talking about how, I mean, I've seen on social media before, you shared your story a little bit about like your upbringing. You touched on it just for a second, but you said before that you felt like your past disqualified you from being a good father. So what is something that shifted that mindset for you?
Yeah, I don't think there was really like a defining moment. Like I was just sitting there and all of a sudden I had like this revelation, like everything shifted. I think it was just like an accumulation of different things that took place in my life. Like I mentioned earlier, just like growing up in that type of household, that type of environment, and seeing like the psychological things that it did to me over time. Like I knew like deep down, like I never want to replicate this. I never want anybody, whether my children or someone else's, to ever have to experience the things that I experienced as a kid. So if I'm being completely honest, when we had our first daughter, at that point I still didn't feel qualified necessarily. I just knew that I had to be a different version of myself that I wasn't even accustomed to. Like, and that's where, you know, my relationship with the Lord comes into play. Like I really had to pray about certain things and like seek his guidance. You know, my own biological father never accepted me growing up. You know, God the Father was the first father I had. He was the first example of a dad in my life. And like knowing how I was accepted when I myself accepted Jesus into my life, it just, you know, I wanted to be that for my kids.
Yeah, and we were talking about this actually, I think it was yesterday, but it's not easy. Like in theory, it's like, you know, we want to be something different, you know, from the past, but it's like when you don't have that example, you're kind of like trial and error sometimes. It's like, you know, I know God loves me. I know I have these values. I have this foundation in God. But like, what does it actually look like? What is like, and then you go through these different seasons with raising kids where it's like, okay, the newborn stage, like I'm just like survival mode. And then it's like your kid gets older. Oh, now I have to discipline them. Like, how do I even do that? Like practically. And it's like, you're constantly asking yourself all of these questions. Am I doing it right? Am I pleasing God? Am I like, are my kids gonna get ruined because like I'm learning? You know what I mean? It's like all of these things that come up. So it's like, it's not just, you know, I just want to be the opposite. It's a whole thing of learning, a whole new way of learning that like you're going through that process with your kids. And that's like, I think the challenge at some point, because you want to be better, but you're like hoping that you're better. You know what I mean? At the same time.
So with families because I've heard this story, not just yours, because I mean, the enemy, he wants to say, you're the only one going through this. Like, I mean, in my own lane in life, I just remember in high school, like there was this one particular thing and I was like, I'm the only one going. And then I met a girl and she was like, I'm the same way. And so for those people that are out there that didn't have a model father or model mother, that's hard to say, but didn't have that example, how do you guys find that? How do you guys find those things that help you learn how to parent when you didn't have one to pull on when you first had your kids?
Honestly, like for me, I did a lot of research. So like I was on social media, I was on YouTube, I was just like trying to figure, like pulling bits and pieces of what I could. Like I like that, I don't like that, I like that. And I still personally thought I wasn't doing it right. And then it wasn't until, honestly, we started the social media page where people like, wow, you're such a great mom and this. And I'm like, I am? Like, I thought, like, I'm like, I guess I'm doing something right that, like, my child has, like, turned out like this. Like, it kind of was more confirmation. Like, okay, I can be confident as a mom. I don't have to be, like, questioning myself 24/7. Like, am I doing this right? And not that you need people's validation, but it was just something at that point where it was like, okay, God is within me. Like, I have confidence in myself as a mom now, especially once you have, like, your second child. It's like, okay, I know what to do, but just trusting the process and trusting that God was giving me wisdom. It wasn't just me searching, it was God guiding me to resources. And that kind of, like, came more full picture later, like, more recently. But
The Holy Spirit does, like, guide you in that, because I'm thankful for the Holy Spirit. If I did not, I'm daily, I'm like, if I did not have you, I would be lost.
yeah.
And so I mean, you look in the Bible, like, faith without works is dead. So it's like, if you didn't have that movement, he'd have nothing to steer. And so, I mean, you see that in just, like, him connecting with people and other things. And, like, with all the research, I remember us having a conversation. And for you, what did that look like for you? And just, how did you, like, not just through trial and error, but what did you pull on when you felt like you didn't have anything?
Well, again, I mean, I can't stress it enough. Just, the things that I felt I didn't have, or certain things that I knew were being done wrong to me. Again, I just wanted to do the exact opposite. So, a practical example, like, when it comes time to punish, like, I don't like spanking my daughter. Like, I don't, like, it's the last thing that I want to do, because, like, I was abused as a kid. I was hit as a kid. Not to say that, giving a little pat on the butt is abusing your child, but it just brings me back to that place of, like, that physical contact. That's just not something that I want to do. But even aside from that, on a more lighthearted note, just, like, I just want to give my time, because I feel like I didn't, like, things that were void in my life. Like, my dad wasn't around much, and when he wasn't the best individual. So, that even kind of comes back around to the social media stuff, and, like, why we even started this is to just have, like, more time together as a family, because we were both very much in the corporate world. And, Leslie was, I don't know what, 1.5 when we officially made the transition. But, Cynthia talked a lot about research. We were doing a lot of research and found out, the first 4 years of your child's life are the most crucial for the parent to be present in their development and everything. So that, like, we were more determined than ever to, like, figure something out so that we're not missing those moments with our kids, and that we're just stuck in the 9 to 5 world, and then we're too tired at the end of the day, and it's like, okay, it's bedtime, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's crazy because before all of this happened, you were in, like, your office job. I was working from home full time. But it was a corporate job, and I was taking care of my first daughter at home too. So it was just, like, a lot of things that we were juggling, and we were just trying to figure out, like, is there something we can do that, like, we can leave these jobs? Like, it's just, it felt, especially being in Texas, like, taking that leap of faith, moving to Texas, not having family here, all we had was each other. Like, at the end of the day, like, you meet people, and, like, we had friends and stuff, but it's like, we have each other. Like, that's, and so we were just researching, how can we do something online, like, create a business. Like, we literally tried so many different things that just flopped. And a lot of things
over almost a year, I think, of, like, trial and error.
Trying different things. But one thing I remember is a few months after, like, trying a couple things that didn't work, we had gone to this prophetic night at our previous church, and we had a prophetic word spoken over to us where, like, we basically got the word that God's taking you out of, like, the traditional, like, 9 to 5.
Taking you out of the grind of life. You're going to bring you back into the home.
Yep. And you're going to be doing something online, and I forget, like,
this was about 1.5 years before we started this too.
And so we got that word.
It wasn't
and
like an overnight thing.
We were like, we this is confirmation. Like, we're definitely, and so we're like, we're going to leave our jobs. And it was like nowhere like near from like when that word, it was like over a year and a half, I think, later, or almost 2 years later.
Yeah. I want to get into that of like, how in starting this content creation journey, because it was quick, like just hearing how it's only been, this is your 3rd year, right?
Just started
We
our
just
third
started
year.
our 3rd year. So
Okay,
our
just
our
started.
2-year anniversary was last month since we started the page.
That's phenomenal. So how did you step out in obedience with this? Like when you officially like got the go ahead of like, okay, let's start this.
Well, we had gotten that word, and
Yeah.
we were just kind of trial and error, like different things. And then we thought we found something, and we were like, this is it. Like, this is going to be it. We poured so much money into it. It was like going to be a digital business, and put a lot of time, a lot of sleepless nights.
Built an entire website.
Literally, like everything was just about done. And 2 days before we were going to launch, we were in the middle of the 21-day prayer and fasting at church, and all peace left. I mean, like, we were arguing about it, like, zero peace. Things just didn't make sense anymore. And we were like, we need to take a step back from this.
It seemed like things were going so smoothly, like everything was falling into place. And yeah, like she said, literally 2 days, we had a launch date set that we were going to throw the business out there, and we were just going to go on. 2 days before, like, everything just felt hectic. It just felt chaotic. We got in an argument that night about it because we didn't understand what was going on. So we were like, we need to pray about this. We need to understand like what's happening. Like this isn't a coincidence that this is happening 2 days before launch. Everything else was working out perfectly fine up until this point. So we prayed about it that night. And I remember right before I went to bed, like God told me specifically, like, we're scrapping this business. And I didn't even know how to receive that. Like if I'm being honest, I kind of rejected that first. I'm like, God, I'm not doing that. Do you understand how much I just put into this?
Thousands of dollars.
I have bags under my eyes from not sleeping. I went into debt because of this, because I had to take out a business loan for it. And God said, no, we're scrapping this. And then I prayed on it more as I was wrestling with the Lord, and I felt him telling me, like, I want you to start a social media page, directing us to Instagram, TikTok. And I'm like, God, that doesn't make sense. Like, I remember saying that. I was like, how are we going to make money doing that? How am I going to provide for my family doing something like that? Because I didn't understand. I was ignorant to the whole like social media industry. I didn't understand how you make a business out of that. But this ties back to obedience. I was like, okay, I know that this is God. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. Like, I'm wrestling with it, but I'm going to just, put my trust out there, and we're just going to go with it. I mean, we were still working our jobs at the time, but you
were trying to pursue real estate.
Well, yeah,
too,
I think
I was working my job.
So I was in transition to just getting into a course for real estate. I got licensed a couple months later after that.
I guess we kind of talked about this, or like over that conversation. I personally was not in a rush to start social media. Like, that was just like, if we can do anything else where I can be behind the scenes, like, I was just, I'm so comfortable with that, God. Like, I don't want to go back into that. I know.
I remember you saying you were like in that field before, and it was a lot from you. So like what?
So my first job my first internship and jobs out of college were all in social media, digital marketing, went into digital advertising, like almost 10 years altogether of basically social media and digital media. And I just multiple times was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I was so burnt out. I quit like one of my jobs, and I was just trying to get as far away as possible from it, and went into insurance. So like, my job that I was doing was I was working for an insurance broker, and I did that for 4 years. And I was like, if I could just do anything but that. And I just felt like God, we were going to do this together. I felt God when he said that about the family page, and I was like, all right, we're going to do this then. We're going to do this.
And I think we started the family page. Was it next day or 2 days after that?
It was
immediately.
And one of the words during the fast that we really that stood out to us was just consistency. There was like a whole message on consistency. And we just held on to that word. Like we felt like God highlighted that word and we're like, all right, we're going to start this and we're just going to be consistent. It doesn't matter like what number of followers or whatever, we're going to post 3 times a day, every day, consistently. Wow. Yeah. And that's what we did. So we started a brand new page, and we were just posting, like, it wasn't even difficult videos. Like it was just, I don't know, things we were doing in the morning, snippets of the day, just like nothing overly produced. Like it was
just authentic,
just
like genuine
content.
moments between us, with us and Alessia.
And then it was nearing the end of the fast, and I remember it was a Friday, I think, and we're like, we literally ran out of ideas already. Like I think it was like 2 weeks. It was
like
10.
day 10.
Oh my god!
After posting 3 times a day,
I ran out of ideas, and I was in my kitchen, and I got like a little video of me giving Leslie a little bite of like an ice cream sandwich I was eating.
Yep.
And I
was late. Remember, I was late to go out to a dinner, and he was like,
should
I post this? Should I like what? And I'm like, just post it. And I'm like running out the door.
Just put it out there.
Just put it. Who cares? And like I'm at dinner with my friend, and Joey's texting me, I don't know what's happening right now, but like this video is like blowing up.
It was at like almost 1 million views in like the first couple of hours of posting.
And it just kept growing and growing. Yeah. And we had ended the fast on that previous Monday, I think, right?
Yep.
We ended it. And then
that week.
By that Friday, multiple things started going viral. Like it was crazy.
A few things like I've noticed like in what you're talking about is your consistency at the beginning, and then you just didn't see anything. You saw nothing at all. And then you post one thing that you don't think is actually going to do what you want it to. And then it's like, bam, it just shows up and everything. And it's funny how like God really does take you through certain things like that, because he's like, I want you to be faithful. And the Bible says, be faithful with the little and I'll make you rule over much. And like, I mean, you've seen that in your life. And it's really cool because like when people, like if you just had that one viral video at the very beginning, compared and you had none of your other 3 times a day, people would have came on your show and on your page and been like, oh, that's cool. I don't know who these people are. But it's like I love how like God showed you that like that discipline, because you guys are consistent in your posting. But I want you to share, because I remember you talking to me recently that numbers weren't looking the same and these things that used to work don't work. So when you're planning, when your logic, when everything that normally works isn't working, how do you stay consistent to this word that God gave you? Because, I mean, so many people go through, I've even gone through that myself.
Yeah. I think like we had to take a step back personally and get back to the reason why we were doing this. Because I think once you start getting into the whole social media thing and months and even years pass by, and now you're doing deals with brands and different things, it's like you can kind of lose yourself a little bit in that because you're just so busy all the time. Mm-hmm. It's like you don't really have a plan anymore, and you're like just trying to get stuff out to keep things like pumping out, and like you kind of can get to a point where you're like, first of all, I'm fried. Like I feel like I need a break. Like I need a break.
Yeah, for sure.
I've exhausted all my creative ideas. And I think it also, social media just changes so fast. So it's like you could be doing something right and then it changes and that's not right anymore. And so it's like learning how to be adaptable, like to what's happening. Like even now, social media, I think Instagram changed again, and there's like new things that you're supposed to be
changing.
doing.
I mean, if you have to learn, and you said it perfectly, you need to be adaptable. Like this is a constantly changing industry that, you know, if you want to stay relevant, if you want to continue growing, like you have to not necessarily like do every single trend that comes out, but
shouldn't do everything.
You need to like understand what the algorithm is doing and like where it's like what niche it's placing you in, like what videos are performing well based on your niche versus like this is kind of off topic to what you would normally do. So like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, and I think like there's a balance you have to have between like strategizing and like when God tells you to do something, being obedient to that, because it can't be all over spiritualized where you're like, I'm just gonna like post what I think the Lord is, and like that's all you're doing, because strategy is still important, but it's like finding a balance, like taking that like wisdom, like people have collected data, they've learned from it, taking that, but then also when God says post something, you post something. You know what I mean? Leaving room for him.
And you have a testimony about that too.
Yeah,
There's two different videos last year, again, during the fast or right after the fast. It was around that time. You woke up in the middle of the night. It was like 2-3. She literally woke me up in the middle of the night. She's like, I feel like I'm supposed to make these videos. There's 2 different videos that she made. One was like, because a lot of people have asked us, like, how did you get your daughter to talk? Because Leslie's been talking like fluently since she was like before 1 year old.
Yeah, she's been talking a lot.
She knew like 50 plus words before her first birthday, which was insane. So people are like always asking us, like, your daughter speaks so well. So she did a video on like just like a process from like pretty much birth up until like her age now, like how she
the progression,
just like little things. You could probably talk.
Just like helping her, how the different things I did, like her progress of learning to talk over like those months and years. And then the second one was like how we teach our child about Jesus. And like I don't get those ideas all the time. Like it's not like every day I wake up and I'm like, God told me to do this.
Yes, definitely.
But like when I do get an idea, it's more so like I'm watching something play over and over again in my head. And it's like I'll go about my day and it's playing again in my head. And it's like, you know, it's like, okay, I think like I need to do this. And
what I think is interesting about your story is that at the very, very, very beginning, when you go back, you had something you were planning on doing, and then God said, no, scratch that. And then you do something totally different and it works. And then you have some, and that's just been your story like throughout everything. And I mean, even just in this, I mean, your whole entire story is a lifestyle of obedience to what God has told you to do. And a lot of times people can over spiritualize it and they can just think, oh, I'm going to wake up from a dream every single night and have all that content. And it's not that way all the time, but those times do come.
Right.
And so when you're being faithful in anything, like it's not just in content, like there are people that are watching right now that are like, I'm in real estate or I'm in something and things are just not working, but you're putting all this effort in. And you briefly kind of talked about this, but how do you stay away from being burned out from always sharing your life on a screen?
As a top one,
I
think just like learning how to pace yourself, just like learning what works for your family specifically. Everything has to come back to a place of balance. Like you can't just 100% put everything onto social media because there's been people that have asked us questions like, oh, like, do you ever film like Leslie crying or anything like that? It's like, not everything has to be out there for the public to see. Like there's not every single moment of our waking hour is going to be posted on our stories or in a reel. Like there's intentional time that we also spend with ourselves and with our children that doesn't need to be recorded. And also we don't want our daughters growing up thinking that there's a camera in their face 24/7.
Right. Yeah, I don't think
so. You have to learn how to balance that out. Did that answer the question?
Yeah. The balance. It's balance, yeah.
Yeah. What was it? Yeah, repeat.
Talking about with like burnout. How do you stay away from being burned out?
Oh, yes. Okay. And so in addition to that, I had to personally learn how to rest in God in a new way because I was just so busy that like the ways that I would rest in God before, like journaling and, you know, staying in my car for an hour, crying my eyes out to like worship music. And like, I didn't have those pockets of time anymore because I had kids that were relying on me and I had a job and you know, even when we first started this, I was still working full time. It wasn't like we just started and like we're making money and like we're leaving our jobs. It was like almost a whole year before I left my job.
Like 10 months or so.
Yeah. And so I had to learn like where are there moments in my day where I can just rest in God and like
what did that look like practically?
For me, like for a period of it changes. So like for me, there's a period of time where I'm like I have to wake up at 4 a.m. and like get my me time and have my coffee and just sit and read my Bible. That worked for a period of time. And then it was like the grace was like not on that anymore. Yeah. Because then my daughter was like, it was just different things. So then it's like, okay, now I'm going to the gym and I have time when I drive there and come back where I can listen to my worship and like pray. And like that was filling me up for that like period. So it's like being in tune with God and like where he's leading. It's not always going to look exactly like, you know, how it was in the early days. And like, that's okay. And I think that's just part of like your relationship with God is like, where does God want to meet me in this season? Like, it's not, you know, even if it's 5 minutes while I'm like doing the laundry real quick and I'm just stopping and like setting my attention on him. You know what I mean? It's like little things like that. And like you said, that plus balance.
Yeah, it's like so a lot of times people overthink things because prayer, all that is just talking to him.
Right.
Like if you're putting your laundry, it's like, Lord, like, thank you for this. I
Right.
need some help with this.
Right.
And that's it. And like you talking about the balance, like you taking the time to just be like, no, I'm not going to share every single waking moment because if you did that, you'd go insane. And so you have to find the balance in it. And so I mean, you guys have shared a lot about like with your faith is like your primary, it's the center of everything, the beacon of everything that you guys do. And so what has this journey, like, how has it increased your faith?
I know for me personally, like the leap of faith of leaving my job and leaving that like security in a sense, like financial security, that was like the biggest like trust, like step of obedience for me because I had never done that. Like I always worked in a set 9-to-5 job. Like I went to college, did internships, I worked the 9-to-5 or longer, whatever it was. But I had never stepped into entrepreneurship like that. Like that was just scary to me. Yeah. Not having a fixed income, not having, not knowing.
We were just talking about this recently, even on the drive over here. We touched on a little bit. There's a lot of people and people that we know personally that are very comfortable in that 9-to-5 lifestyle, and like they don't really have any aspiration to step out of the corporate world, which is fine. That works for some people.
Each their own, whatever God tells you to do.
Right.
For us specifically, and I touched on it earlier, like we just wanted to have that freedom, have like more of that time. Like I didn't want to be stuck in an office, because the office job that I worked, and she'll tell you, like there were seasons where like I wasn't even getting home till like 7 or 8. I didn't get to see Leslie some days as a baby.
That was hard on me because that's a lot.
Yeah, that was hard. That was hard on her. It was hard on me. And you can kind of look at it like, oh, it was like a break. You were away like while she's like working. Like, no, I would rather be there helping out. I would rather be there with you and my daughter. But as far as like increasing faith goes, I have to constantly remind myself to take a step back and look at social media as a partnership with the Lord, more so than it is just like a partnership with us or with the brands that we're working with. Because if God is the one that told us to start this page, he's the one that's going to sustain this page. As long as we continue to follow his direction and stay obedient to what he's telling us to do, what he's telling us to post. Certain days don't post at all, and that's okay. Like you don't have to constantly be on there sharing everything all the time. I feel like what's really helped sustain us and sets us apart from, not everybody, but there's a lot of people in social media that are chasing money, whereas we're chasing purpose.
Yeah, and I think like it's so easy to get into the whole like money thing, which is like if you're in it if you're just getting into it for money, that will not sustain you. Like
absolutely
like
not.
there's gonna be days where you're like, I literally don't care if I'm making $10,000 for this vid. Like I don't want to do it. Like I don't want to do it.
We've been in those positions too.
Yeah, it's just like
not all money is good money.
Not all money is good money.
And the love of money, Bible says, it's the root of all evil. Money's good and it's a tool, but if it's your focus, it's something that can take you away. And I love what you were saying about purpose, because so many times people get burned out, and you guys, I really feel like part of your story of not getting burned out is you always go back to purpose. You always go back, what did God tell us? What is our mission and vision? And I feel like sometimes people, they just go in it, and finding that purpose is not always easy. Finding your mission statement, finding your vision of like what everything ties back into, that it's just like, okay, like I mean, there are some days like I had this mindset shift, like in my show personally, where I was recording something and I started saying, I was like, oh, I have to do this. I have to do this. And then the Lord prompted me. He's like, no, you get to.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I recently had to do that too. Even with like the girls, like I remember recently I was putting them down and I was like so flustered, and I was like, I have to do this. And I got that, like, you get to do this. You get to be their mom. You get, like, this is also ministry. You know what I mean? Like, the things that we think sometimes is like, oh, I have to. Like, that is part of your ministry. That 100%. Is part of creating who you are, that God wants to, like, build you to this person that's going to get you to the next thing he wants you to do. Like, if you don't do this, you won't get to the next thing. Like, if I hadn't done my 9-to-5 job for that whole year, I wouldn't have gotten to the part where it's like, I can leave my job and I'm ready for that. Because, you know what I mean? Even like for your show, it's like, if you don't get through that like first phase, you don't know what God has for you on the other side. Like it'll be something you're not even expecting, but like you have now the skills in place to sustain that. You know what I mean? So
Definitely.
it's like
he walks with you through this journey. And like, I mean, just even hearing a little bit, and I've only known you guys for a short time, but it's just like he gives you words for seasons. Just like he said, okay, this is my rest time for this season. This is my, okay, we're not resting the same anymore.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because he takes the time to walk with us and he speaks to us. And I just want you guys to share a little bit before some of our final questions for today of people that are watching, because sometimes people think faith is a copy and paste. And there are certain things, like if you apply the word, you speak the word, you're going to see some results. You renew your mind, you're going to see results. But the method that he tells you to go about what you're supposed to do, it's different for you, it's different for me. So what would you say to the people that are listening that are like, man, like I really want to hear God and what I'm supposed to do. I want to stay consistent, but like, how do I hear him? How would you give someone that advice from your experience?
Make sure that the things that you're praying for and seeking the Lord for align with the will of the Lord. Because I think oftentimes like we pray, and I heard an example about this the other day, so I'll make it more practical. I won't use names, but there's somebody that was praying to get freed from something and they got an instantaneous deliverance. And I can even attest to that myself. Like I prayed to get free from drug addiction and that was like an overnight thing for me. But there were other things that I was praying for, and this individual had prayed for like a relationship that he wanted mended, and it never worked out. So like they gave up on God altogether. But like God can see into your future and what's best for you more so than you can. So like maybe that's not the person that you're supposed to be with. Like that's not the person, like maybe they're not aligned with you spiritually in the direction that God is wanting to take you. They're on their own journey. God's working on something completely separate from them. So really getting into the word and understanding what God's perfect will is and like praying things that align with that, I think will give more clarity on where you're supposed to go.
Absolutely. Even when you don't want to, because you guys have said over and over, is that it didn't make sense.
Right.
Years ago, and then I want to hear your perspective on it. Years ago, there was this guy, he like kind of sang in the prophetic for a part of the service. And he goes, and it won't make sense. And it won't make sense. And that is a word that carried my family through things that we thought was going to work out and it didn't. But we had peace. And the peace isn't a feeling, but it's not like a physical, like that peace. Right. It's just like, it's a knowing in your spirit. And you, like the Bible says, your sheep know the shepherd's voice. And so it's like, he's our shepherd. And so when we continue to learn his language through reading his word, we can hear him. And so it's just like your story. It's so true. Like when you know the will of God and you pay attention to what he has to say, it's like, that's exactly what it is. And that's how you can learn how he hears. So what about you?
Right. Well, also when you don't have peace, that is helping you to direct, because that's what it was for us. When we didn't have peace, we're like, we're doing something wrong.
What does it look like to not have peace?
I mean, you feel like for us, it was like
the night that we were told not to launch the business.
And you get mad about it, and it's like, you know, like little things
just like
start
an
like
anger out of nowhere.
Or like,
it was like I don't even know what triggered it. It's like why are we mad at each other
also,
right now?
like,
It makes no sense.
The things that were just so smoothly going along weren't smoothly going. Like it was just difficult to record something. It was difficult to edit something. It's like you're just getting stressed, and it's like, why is this not? Little things that you have to really have that discernment of like, hold on, like that is hearing God, because you're like, something's off. So like I would say when you don't have peace, like pay attention to that. And then also God, like for me personally, spoke to me a lot about humility. Like it's important to stay humble. It doesn't matter if you're in the beginning phase or you're 2-3 years down the line, like you're never too smart. You know what I mean? Like you've never really got it all figured out. And like, don't ever for a minute think that you have it figured out, because God can give you that, like, you know, quick, nope, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be like just this. Just kidding. You thought you had it all together, but in reality, this is what I want you to do. And it's like, always stay in that place of humility and like, let God raise you up. Like, don't ever think you're so good that you know, I need to go sit in the front.
That's
like,
good.
It's like, no, I'm going to take like, I actually had a dream about that recently. Like, I was having a lot of dreams about humility. And it was like, in the dream, I was sitting in the last row, in the last seat. And like, God was like telling me, like, that's where I want you to be, in the last row, in the last seat. And like, let me do what I do. You know what I mean? And it's like, don't ever think you're too good, because you will be humbled. You know what I mean? And it's like, even in this space, there's so many other people, like we've met people, they have way more followers than us. They have way better brand deals. They're making way more money. And it's like, this is where God has us. And we're still in a really great position. We are in nowhere near where we were. Like when I first left my job, praise God. That's not because of what we did. Yeah, we put in the work, and there's still more work to be done.
I really, really liked how that part about bringing you up, that has been something the Lord has taught to me since college. Like, I remember there was one spot, because I think about the Bible, how it says pride comes before a fall. And I mean, this is laughable now, but it hit me like a dagger in the heart when I first heard it. But I was on the team. I did not know this guy. He was the leader of all the missions training. And he comes up to me and he says, I'd never met him before. I just was doing the practices, but God spoke to him and he knew I needed to hear it. And I'm laughing now because he goes, you could lead one of these teams, but you will never lead one of these teams because of your pride. You need to fix that. And I said, you don't even know me. I was like, and so it's just like with pride, like he spoke and it was so true, because it, like, I had this thing that it was like, oh, I felt like I was supposed to be, I need to go move myself to the front. But God, he brings you up. And you guys, when we were kind of conversing about this beforehand, I wish I remember exactly what you said. You probably remembered, but I was asking you guys, like, what's one thing that carried you through, like when logic and numbers didn't, or like what is something that you wish you knew at the beginning? And you were saying how there are certain things that, like, you do that God's going to promote and you didn't even think about it. And so for that, your obedience story is just absolutely it has really helped me stay consistent with my posting. And so for those people who are like, okay, like the logic, the numbers, nothing is adding up. Like, how do you just continue to trust that God is going to promote you even when nothing around you looks like it's working in your favor?
Yeah. Well, I'll say the first thing, it's funny that the one video that God, started everything with was an ice cream sandwich video. Yeah. It wasn't us talking about God. It wasn't us preaching a Bible. It wasn't even us showing family God's way. It was literally giving our kid an ice cream sandwich. Yeah. And I feel like that was like funny to God. Like, oh, you think it's going to be this way? No. Like, let me show you. Let me show you. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I would say knowing your mission, knowing why you're doing it. Yeah. And it can't be because of money. There has to be something deeper than that. Yeah. Knowing your why. And I mean, I will still say consistency. Consistency is not always going to look the same. Consistency for us is no longer 3 posts a day every single day.
Sometimes we need to consistently rest. Yeah. It's not even just about consistently posting. I mean, there's periods of time where, like, we need to take the next 3 days off and just rest.
And trusting that God's still in it. We're not falling behind, because it's like, there was one time we had to take a week off. We were so burnt out, and we're like...
Well, we started the year with like a 7-day reset and just didn't post anything for 7 days.
And it's like believing like God's still in this. Like, we're not missing it because we have to rest. You know what I mean? And it's like you're watching everyone else continue to do stuff. Like, you have to stay in your lane and be obedient to what God's telling you to do in that moment. Because like for us, obedience was rest, not posting every day looking at everyone else's stuff.
Not comparing.
Yeah, not comparing, because it's too easy.
That's a dangerous place to get to, too, is just like when you start comparing, like you were talking about how other people we know personally that have like exceptionally more followers than us. And it's easy to get lost in that. It's like, okay, like what are we doing wrong? But it's like we're like the Lord just has us on a different path than he does those individuals. Like they're doing something completely different that, may not even align with the purpose that we have for why we're doing it.
And it's like, we're God's kids. Like, he's going to encourage you along the way. Like, there's been days where, we posted videos and we're like, oh, they didn't do good. And then it's like one person is like, wow, like, I loved your video. Or like, this is a quick testimony, but we posted that one video of Ava, like our second daughter, dancing, just like salt shaker. just like dancing, and we're like, oh, it's just a funny video, like let's just post it, just put it. And my grandfather called me from Boston a couple days later, and my grandma had like passed out and been brought to the emergency room. And he said, you know why I found your grandmother was because I saw your video. Someone sent me your video, and I went to go and show her.
I have chills.
Said I found it funny, so I wanted to go show her. So it's like God will work in different ways.
Because he went to go show her, he found my grandma, and they were able to get her to the hospital.
I had like,
but it's like if we hadn't even like posted that, like who knows if he would have found her.
Funny enough, that was one of those videos that we were hesitant about posting because Cynthia was just like, I might just throw it on stories. I was like, make it a reel.
Yeah.
I don't know, just something about it. Just make it a reel.
Yeah.
It's funny.
And it's like God will use it. It's like that video. It's not about the numbers. That just literally helped my grandma. You know what I mean? It's like
but even if
reasons.
we're talking numbers, I mean, God will leave the 99 for the one. So if it is a post that doesn't pick up as much traction as like a viral video, but there's that one person that gets some form of revelation out of it. There have been videos like that don't perform that well, and people reach out to us like, this video really encouraged me, send us like long DMs. It's like, well, that video is for you,
right?
Not to reach 10 million video. That video is for you specifically.
I love how you said we're God's kids. Like that is like so important, because the Bible says, Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you.
Right.
And so like with you guys staying in your lane, like that is your plan. And you guys have shared over and over, like before we go on our final question, like I just want to commend you guys of everything that you guys have said is, okay, I'm going to turn to him. I'm going to turn to him. I'm going to and with radio stations, like when you're going into a different place, when you're driving around, you got to tune in. You got to make sure you're tuned in. And there are going to be times when you're in a different spot and you're like, wait, I got to tune in a little different because I'm in a different place. But God is always right there. That signal is always there. It's just where you're turning to.
Right.
Because if you turn away, you're not going to have that peace.
Right.
You're not going to post that video. Your grandma, what would happen? And it's just like, God is like, I'm so pleased. That's the word, because like, proud, that thing, like it's not, but like God is so pleased with you guys. And I'm so thankful to know you, because try not to cry, I'm locking in.
I'm not gonna cry.
But it's just like,
I'm like,
it's just like, hold on. But it's just like everything that you guys have done has been, okay, let me turn to him. And I believe that so many people are going to hear that and say, that's where I've missed it. And I looked at the money, I looked at everyone else, but I never turned to him. So, in our final question for the day, what do you say to those people that they have a dream in their heart? They know God has really big plans for him. My grandpa used to say that all the time. Right now. But what do you say to those people that it's like, I want to start, but I'm too scared. I don't feel like I'm enough. I don't feel like I know enough.
Yeah.
What do you say to them?
Well, I'll go first.
You start.
You have to do it. You have to do it. Like, there is nothing better than obedience, because there's a reward on the other side. And it's not, I would say for us, it has never been what we thought it was going to be. It's been better. Like, better. Like, I could not have put that on my vision board. You know what I mean? It's like, I literally could not have,
and I think you touched on this earlier, but, obedience. Obedience has propelled us in a way that strategy never could.
Yeah. It literally.
Like, literally just obedience has propelled us in a way that strategy never could. Just listening and taking directive directly from the Lord. So if there's someone out there that has a vision, that they have a desire in their heart to pursue something, like Cynthia said, go for it. Like, it is that simple. Like, stop sitting in your thoughts, stop wallowing on the couch thinking about how it's going to look like. If God said it, get up and do it.
Yeah.
And just trust that he's going to bring it to fruition in the way that it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And if you look at a lot of people that start social media, the beginning stages looked very simple. It wasn't anything crazy. Like people that start podcasts, people that start even like any business, like you cannot compare your starting point to someone that's been doing it for years. Like you will discourage yourself. Like don't even look at it. Like stay in your lane and watch God do it. Watch God do it.
One thing too, what's been really encouraging for us too, is there have been people that have been in this much longer than us that from our perspective are a lot more successful in it than us, but have come to us and said, like, you guys encourage us. Like, I've learned so much from your family, and we're still so young in this. And it's like, that just goes to show, like, you can learn something from anybody, regardless of what season of life they're in, regardless of, you know, how little or how long they've been doing something. There's always something to learn. So going back to what you said earlier, like, never put yourself in a position where you have it all figured out. Like, you're too smart, I think is how you said it.
And, you know, God made us all so perfectly, like so specifically. And something I always hold on to is, like, no matter what you're doing, it doesn't have to be social media. You are the brand. You know, you are the brand. People want to, you know, you have your show, we do our thing, but people are going to follow you because they like you. They like the things you like to do. They like the clothes you like to wear. They like how you think about things. Literally, it's the way that God made you that they like. You have to press into that. Like, literally be yourself. Like, I can't stress that more. Be yourself. You trying to be someone else and trying to do it someone else's way,
you're always going to be second best.
Yeah, you're never going to be the fullness of what God created you to be, and you're never going to get the best results. You know what I mean?
You're not, and it's just it goes back to He knows your plans,
right?
He knows your path, and if you just, it's simple. Like, people overcomplicate faith, but if you just turn your eyes on Him, you fix your eyes on His plan, His directions, everything.
Right.
That's when things fall into place.
Right, it does.
And I just want to thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for joining me today, because
thank you for having us. We're excited to be here. This is so fun.
This is the first time I've done something like this. I just want to throw that out there. Yeah, and this has been awesome.
You guys did fantastic.
Yeah, so it's great.
It was awesome, and I again thank you. And I know that this message is going to impact so many of you guys, because I mean, I've shared over and over on the show that God has big plans for you. My grandpa has said that from the very beginning of my life. And just as their story was sharing, like, turn your eyes on Him. Don't look to the right. Don't look to the left. Keep your eyes fixed on what God has planned for you. And also, if you have that feeling that's like, oh man, I'm fearful, like, I don't know what to do, like, but God told me to do it, don't go by your feelings. Feelings are going to lie to you. You need to do it. Do not fear. Because the Bible says He's not giving you the spirit of fear, but of power, love, a sound mind, of discipline and self-control. God has equipped you with every single thing that you need to accomplish all that He has, because you know why? God is on the inside of you, and God has everything. So if you have God, you have everything. And so take the step today. I challenge you to take the step today. And if this episode encouraged you, which I know it did, then I want you to let me know in the comments. And don't keep all the good stuff to yourself. Share it with a friend. And tune in again next week, because we have new episodes every single Friday. My name's Kaytlynn Ward, and I am your host again. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you again next week.